Okay, hello friends, and welcome in Career Talk, where we invite industry people to share their knowledge with us. And today we have Kanu Bhutani with us. He's a known face on our channel. He has done a lot of interviews with respect to business analysts in the past. So welcome, Kanu, and thanks for giving your time today.
Thank you very much, Sunand. It's nice to attend the session again.
Okay, Kanu. So friends, today we have gathered business analyst interview questions, most asked, frequently asked business analyst interview questions. So even if you are a fresher or if you are experienced, it's better to know all these questions. All these questions we have gathered from our WhatsApp group and from various sources. People have already attended a lot of interviews and they shared all these questions with us. So it's like a combination of lot of questions. So Kanu, if you are ready, shall we start?
Yes, I'm ready. We can
Okay,
start.
thank you. So friends, what we have done, we have jotted down questions also on the PPT on the screen so that you can also visualize it better. So here comes the very first one. Okay, so this is again most asked interview questions that as a business analyst, what is your role and responsibility in your current project or an operation? So Kanu, over to you.
Yes. So it is a very vital role that we play as a business analyst in an organization. The main role is that to find out the need of organization, finding out the problems they are facing, and even predicting the future issues, and then suggesting the suitable solutions to them based on the organization's achievements. The role also differs and varies from organization to organization, or sometimes the different projects demand different things from a BA, and even sometimes there are some different domains where we have to play our roles. And as a business analyst, we also have to do the business planning, the system analyst role, data analyst role, and even the subject area matter expert and application designer role we have to play. So considering these, the main skills that I feel is having a good grip on a system engineering concepts and leadership qualities, as well as written and verbal communication would be the core skills for that. And there are some employers that requirements, like some are limited to IT projects, and even some are having responsibilities to the areas of domains such as finance, marketing, accounting, etc. So that is what I would say that is the role in the organization we play.
Thanks a lot, Kanu, for that. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so again, this is the most asked interview question that how you are going to work with the changing requirement during the sprint or during the project. Manu?
Yes. So the very first task of a business analyst here is that he should be taking the sign off from the document that he has created, and he has showed it to the all the stakeholders, and get the signature of the document to close the task or close the requirements. But sometimes what happens, the changes come in the requirements. So firstly, I will like to note down what are the changes of the requirements and what are the priorities that should be given to them. And then we'll go through that changes and also see how it will impact my project. I will also calculate the costs, the timelines, and the resources that are required to do that changes. And then after all this, I will come up with the changes that will affect or create the gaps to the functional design documents or the testing or the coding. So that is the way I will handle the changes to the requirements.
Great, thanks, Manu. Okay,
Yes.
so let's move on. Yeah, so this is the question which will ask specifically with respect to freshers. Just want to check like what are the different tools which the business
Yes.
analysts work on. So Tanu, you
Right.
want to share? Yeah.
Yes, I want to share because there are many tools that we can use, because there are many rational tools that are available, like rational rows and all, for testing or for creating the project management. But most of the tools, important tools that I use, are Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint and Microsoft Word, and then also the MS Project sometimes, and also the ERP systems that are involved in the project. Not necessary we should know those ERP systems, but at least some knowledge if we have of those ERP systems like SAP system, the changes that we have to do in that, so that knowing that will really help a business analyst to work and provide his estimations. That's it.
Great. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Khan. Okay, so this is with respect to requirement. Uh, so how you will know that whenever you gather the requirement, that requirement is good or sufficient enough so the team members can start working on? Do you have any criteria or any way which you can identify this?
Yes. So the main important thing that I feel that for having a good requirement is a rule called SMART rule. Now, most of the people know that it is the full form is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. But yes, this is very important for having a good requirement or perfect requirement. Like, it should be very specific to the understanding of a requirement, and it should be measurable, that it is able to be testable and codable. So that measurable is very important. Then it is attainable, that whatever resources that we are having in our project, it is attainable by that. And then relevant, how relevant it is to the results that we are achieving, that we are liking to achieve it. And timely, that it will be get over in timely basis. For example, I remember one of the projects which was like very unattainable, and it was a very non-feasible requirement that we were given. And initially in our project we never understood that, but slowly when we started working on that project, we came to know that it is very, it is like not a attainable criteria of the requirement. And then we had to speak to our project managers to show them what why this requirement was not feasible. So we have to see these before we begin our requirements, because in the later stage then we come and stuck up in that place which is not good. That's it.
Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot, Khan. Okay, yeah, sometimes it's very difficult that what you're not supposed to do, you know. So as a
Yes.
business analyst, so could you like to share few of the tasks which you feel that not a part of a business analyst role and
Right.
responsibilities?
Yes. So many things which are not a part of a business analyst is that he's not supposed to perform coding or programming or execute the test cases. Of course, he has to make the functional test case document, but not do the testing. Then he should also not be the part of all the project team meetings, because the meetings which are very intended to be a part of BA, he should be the part of that. And then finally, the risks and the issues that are tracked for a project, not all the issues and risks are should belong to a BA. So he should understand which issues and risks belong to him and which not, and he should avoid those. So yes, those should not be the part of a BA's job.
Okay, thanks a lot, Khan, for that. Okay, so there are a lot of documentation which had happened during the project. So would you like to share a couple of documents and how they looks like and what's the use of them in the project? as a
Yes,
BA?
sure. Yes. So, see, as a business analyst, we deal with many stakeholders and even the implementation team. So, it is very important for us to know that which actual documents we should create. So, they are like the very first is functional specification document, and then it is business requirements document. The third one is, I feel, use case document and diagram, which actually gives like the many pages, whatever document you write, you can explain in one use case diagram. So that is important. And the requirement traceability matrix, which also brings in a lot of help to a business analyst. Yeah,
Okay, it's Kanu.
that's it.
Okay, so is there any criteria for done with respect to requirement or user stories?
Yes, the requirements are considered done like when we satisfy following things, that we show it to all our stakeholders and get the alignment from them on the project, and all the possible views and ideas of key stakeholders are extracted. The quality of requirement must satisfy the organization's set of criteria, and also they could be done within the possible available resources, which is important. And then all the stakeholders of the project should be in consent with the gathered requirement. So once this is done, then we can say the requirements are done. The consent is very important. That's it.
Consent from whom? Like
From
because
all the stakeholders of the project, the
so
consent, the sign off
so
is
you will
required.
reach out to how you reach out to all those stakeholders?
See, the ones from whom we get the requirements, they are the SMEs who are responsible to give us the requirements. So we get the requirements from them, we do the recordings or whatever we want to do, and then create the required specification document and then show it to them first. Then they are the ones who give us the first sign off, wherein they are happy with all the requirements. Then we gather all those requirements and get back to the implementation team, who will give us the sign off, or if they have any queries they can raise, and then we can again have the calls with those SMEs and finally come up with the solution that which requirements will be done and which not be done, based on all the both sides.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so this is again one of the acronym invest. Would you like to share what does it mean with respect to BA?
Yes. So this invest means the full form is independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, and sized appropriately. And last, T is for testable. So as we have seen and as we know that the project managers and technical teams should be able to deliver the quality and good quality of product, and can provide quality service, so they need to rely on this invest, wherein we see that every requirement which comes should be independent, like it should not depend mostly, it should not be dependable much on other requirements. Then it should be negotiable, we can either add or sometimes subtract the requirements. It should be valuable, it should not be vague or just like that only requirement. It should have some value. It should be estimable, the proper estimation can be made. It can be sized appropriately with the size of t-shirt size should be properly there. And then testable, which is another very important thing. If it is not testable, it can't move ahead. So that way we can come up with a requirement. gathering.
Thanks, Kanu, for
That's
that. Okay, so this one is, I think, a very crucial question, and if you'd like to throw light on this, that from
yes.
ideation to the time the product is at the hand of the customer. So, what are the
Hmm.
different steps, and if you'd like to elaborate it in detail, that will be great, Kanu.
Right. So, in the process of developing a product from an idea, there are many steps involved in it. The very first step is market analysis, wherein the business plan or it goes through the market and it studies the market, the changes, and how it behaves dynamically. Then it is SWOT analysis, where its strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are identified. Then comes personas. This is very important. Like in this, the websites and intranet who represents the goals and characteristics of large group of users are taken into consideration, and real users, they are called personas. They replicate them and during the functional design. Then comes competitor analysis. All the competitors who are there outside in the market, they are taken into consideration. Their strengths and weaknesses are considered. Then comes strategic vision and feature set. Here it is seen that in the future, moving ahead, what will be the vision of the product which we are developing. So the vision and the feature set is checked here, and the prioritize the features. All the features that are there in the product, they are prioritized, and which should be taken first with the help of the development team. And apart from that, there is an involvement of the process of developing a product wherein the use case, the SDLC storyboards, the test cases, monitoring and scalability, all are considered before starting the product. And this is the basic idea. So all these are involved during that idea process.
Thanks, Kanu, for that explanation. Okay. This is something which is similar to your name, Kanu
Yes.
analysis. What is it,
Kanu
Kanu?
analysis. Yes, it is a very important and a very powerful technique to give a proper help to the end users of the product. The first one is threshold attributes. Now, the threshold attributes are the properties that customer wants in the product, so which should be satisfied. Second is performance attributes. These are some extra properties that are not necessary for the product but can add value to the customer's enjoyment. And the third one is excitement attributes. These are the properties that the customer are not aware at all, but get excited when they find that, okay, these properties or these things are included in their product. So once we get all these three attributes done, it would be like a very fantastic requirement we can give to a customer. Yes.
Thanks, Kanu. Okay, yeah. So there are a lot of questions with respect to be a role in a Scrum team. So
Yes.
what is your thought on that, Kanu? Can
Okay.
you see yourself in the Scrum team?
Yes, a BA plays a very important role in Scrum meeting, and he is actually, we can say that because he takes the directly, he's sometimes also considered as a voice of a business or a customer directly. He is the one who identifies the business problems, validates solutions, and solves and delivers the things to the end client. So he is the very important chain between a business team and the technical team, and hence he is responsible for all the tools and techniques to apply so that he can provide a good product and recommend solutions, enable changes, and deliver values. And that way he can participate in the agile methodology perspective and give his contributions to that.
Thanks, Kanu. Okay, this is though many people think that why this question, but I think it's very
Yes.
important. So as a
Yes.
BA from business perspective, what is the requirement actually?
This is very important question because a requirement from the context of business analyst is a statement that is provided by a stakeholder, what they believe they need in order to solve a particular business problem or respond to a specific business need. So that is called a requirement. Raised by stakeholder, it is a business analyst's role to define, analyze, validate, and to see that in real life this will be possible or not. So that way, a requirement can help a business analyst to work upon.
Thanks, Kanu. Okay, just to take it step ahead. So what's the
Okay.
difference between a requirement and a need in a business analyst perspective? How you differentiate between requirement and a need?
Yes, yes. As I said, that a requirement is defined by a stakeholder. What is the requirement of a stakeholder or a problem he wants to achieve? But the need is a high level representation of the requirement needed. Means the need is the end result or purpose of a requirement. So it is this way that why we are doing this. So business needs identify and define why a change to an organizational system or capabilities is required, and requirements are what need to be done in order to achieve that need or goal. So there is a very slight difference between requirement and need. Yes, so that's the difference.
Okay, thanks, Kanu. Okay, this one is again on a requirement. How do you define a
Yes,
good quality requirement?
yes. The requirements that are useful and they satisfy some of the below things which I will tell you will certainly give us a good quality requirement. One is it should be complete in the necessary information is provided by the project team. Accurate means it should be correct and validated accordingly through the reviews done by the stakeholders. It is should be testable and feasible. As earlier I told you, there are some which are not feasible at all. So that should be avoided. It should be necessary. So the requirement must have some need, the actual need. It should be unambiguous, simple. It should be simple and concise, and then it should be prioritized with the relative degree of the other requirements. So once we have all these satisfied, we'll have a good quality requirement. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, what is a use case, and if you would like to give some example that.
Yes. So use case is system analysis to identify, clarify, and organize system requirements. The use case is made up of a set of possible sequences of interactions between system and users that describes all the steps that are taken by a user to complete an activity. So the use case is of three essential elements. It comes. That is, one is the actor, the system user. This can be a single person or group of persons interacting with the process. The goal, which is the final successful outcome that completes the process. And the third is the system, which the process and steps taken to reach the end goal, including the necessary fundamental requirements and functional requirements and their behaviors. So once these three essential elements are done, which are very important for creating a use case.
Thanks, Kanu. Okay, so though we have covered this one document, but if you'd like to
Yes.
share some kind of templates or reports, matrices that a business analysts use on day-to-day basis, that would be great.
Yes, as we discussed earlier, the business requirement document and BRD are very essential. But apart from that, there are few, like for example, change request document, the data feed specification document, issues list, meeting agenda document. There are some meeting notes which we have to note it down, and then comes the user interface specification document and the requirements development plan. So these are few documents which some people use some documents, some use other documents. Not all documents are used by all the business analysts, but these are few which can help a business analyst to achieve his role. That's it.
Thanks, Kanu. Okay, so this is again one of the most asked question about NFS. What are the non-functional requirements and how do you capture them?
The non-functional requirements are the requirements which are neither functional nor technical, which are apart from that, those are called non-functional, like performance, scalability, portability, compatibility. You can reliability, maintainability, and availability, how much time it will be available, the security, the localization. Is it are we creating the website which has the local, say, you have to create a document, the same website in Indian language, or you have to create the same website in Spanish language? Usability, all these fall into the non-functional requirements. And then the documents that we use for the non-functional documents are, we have to do it in DOD. Definition of done is one document. And second is acceptance criteria, in which we go till the user story, task, and ticket levels, wherein we define and document non-functional requirements. Even apart from that, there are separate Excel sheets, mockups, product backlogs, and sprint backlogs, which we use to document non-functional requirements. That's it.
Thanks, Kanu, for that. Okay, so what's the difference between a BRD and an SRS?
Yes, this is also very closely related. But BRD, as we know, the full form is Business Requirement Document, and SRS is Software Requirement Specifications. So the BRD mostly contains the business requirements, and SRS contains the product or system requirements. The BRD is used by business analyst and the SRS by system analyst. The BRD focuses on business and requirements and stakeholder requirements, and the SRS focuses on functional and non-functional requirements. The BRD specifies the gaps for understanding company features to the customers, and SRS sees the gaps that occur between the user and the developer. And the BRD is used by the upper and middle management teams, and SRS by project managers, technical leads, and subject matter experts. So these are the high level differences between both of the
Okay,
documents.
thanks, Kanu. Okay, this will again important one. If you can
Yes.
describe the complete process flow with respect to business analyst.
Yes. So, business analysis process flow, there are very important 6 steps. One is enterprise analysis, in which a business analyst first analyzes the enterprise, its stand in the market, how much competition is there, all that analysis he will do. Then the requirement planning and management. He will also plan all the requirements and manage all the requirements from the SME team or the business. Once he gets all the requirements, he will do the third step is requirement elicitation. This is to make sure that the requirements which he has got are proper and attainable and feasible, and do more research on that, and also check all those requirements. Once he does this, he will create the requirement analysis and documentation about it, and he will check those requirements with the internal teams, the implementation team, and go through all those requirements. Then he will do the requirements communication, in which he will communicate to all the SMEs, all the stakeholders with those requirements. And finally, the last step is solution, evolution, and validation. He will get the validation and of the solution from all the teams, and finally get the sign off from the all the stakeholders. So this is the business analysis process flow.
Great, Kanu, thanks for that.
Thanks.
Okay, so risk is again an important part in any of the project. So as a BA, how you are going to
Yes.
do that? And if you can
Yes.
share a couple of risks as an example, that will be great.
Yes. The risk management process is the life cycle which is structured around the way to tackle the risks. There are positive as well as negative risks. The first step is identify. You have to identify the potential risks that you know and that may occur, and you have to list down all those risks that you know by making a list of the spreadsheet in the spreadsheet, and that might arise. Once you identify, second is analyze. You have to analyze each and every risk, the probability of that risk, each risk occurring, and the potential impact each risk will have on your project. Once that is done, then the third step comes is evaluate. You will evaluate the risk in each stage, how that risk is uh, to be, how much probability and the impact that risk has, and the risk has a high or low or medium priority. The fourth is treat, how you treat that risk. It will come up with a plan to mitigate a risk, and you can record each and every plan in a risk register. And finally, it's monitoring the risks which you have listed down. You have to monitor each risk at your project as your project begins, and by assigning team members to keep an eye on the specific risks and mitigation plan, that will really help us to perform the risk management accordingly. Yes.
Thanks, Kanu, for that. Okay, what is the CPA, critical path analysis?
Yes, this is also very important. The critical path analysis is a project management technique that lays out all the activities needed to complete a task, and how much time it will take to complete the task. For example, I'll give you that if we are building a house, then the each task should be taken into consideration, and then we know that the task and the time to take and build the walls and lay the roof will take more time than to fix other fixtures or install the factories. So that is the way we critically analyze each and every part of the project and how much time it will take for the project.
Okay,
That's it.
thanks, Kanu. Okay, what about business modeling? What do you mean by business modeling?
Yes, it is very important. Business modeling is done to a company's plan to make a profit. It is identifying the products and the services, the business plans to sell. It's identified target markets and any anticipated expenses. This is very important for both the new and established businesses on the point of making a profit. That's it.
Thanks. Okay, what is your take on RTM, requirement traceability matrix?
Yes. Yes, traceability matrix is a document that is actually containing the details of the technical requirements, and it is also given a test scenario and its current state. It also helps each and every team, the business analyst team, the also the requirements team, the implementation team, the testing team, because we name those requirements traceability matrix. We give that each and every task or each and every requirement is given a item number, and that number is traced accordingly while they do the testing, while they do the development. So that really helps each and every member in the project. That's it.
Thanks, Kanu. Yeah, so this one is again, I think we have put it
Yes.
over here. So what are the few benefits of business process modeling?
Yes, there are. This is a good point, because as we saw that business process modeling helps us to actually do the profit of the business. So how there are benefits are like they align operations with business strategies. They improve process communication, increase control and consistency among the businesses, because the business process modeling is well documented and it eliminates guesswork. Hence they improve the operational efficiencies of the organization by implementing this and improving the process cycle time, and enabling also the better resource utilization, and finally gain competitive advantage once these documents and these things are coming in. So we surely it's possible for the organization to gain the competitive advantage with the other companies. That's it.
Thanks, Kanu. Okay, so what's the use of UML?
Yes, the UML is a standardized modeling language. It helps the software developers to visualize by making the blueprints. So UML is like the to create the structured diagrams that are static based on the various practices that have proven to be successful in creating the complex systems. So the published standards are almost 800 pages long. So such are the UML diagrams, if we take use of that, create and successfully create and show the complex systems. And UML are also used for modeling the software systems, but it's not limited to only software developers. It is also helping the business analysts to manage processes and projects, and also the entire workflows and business processes can be created using UML diagrams. Thanks.
Great. Okay, so this is again, I think, a most asked question. What are the different steps
Yes.
which are involved in product development? Anu?
Yes, there are six major steps that are initially involved in product development. They are, although they differ from industry to industry, but most of the development process framework involves these ideas to bring it to the market. So they are ideation. First, you have to have an idea. Then they do the research, the planning. A proper planning is required to initiate the idea and the research that is done. Then the prototyping, this is again very important. We provide the prototyping of whatever idea or planning we have done, because if we do straightly jump into the product without doing the prototyping, it can give us a huge loss sometimes. Then it's sourcing, how much people we need, what all other sources we need, and then costing of the project. So once we have all these things, we can start the product development. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, so what is scope creep and how we can avoid it?
Yeah. The scope creep is like crippling your project, and to avoid that, there are total 5 ways to control your project scope creep. One is document the project requirements. It's like talk to all the project stakeholders and users who will be working and who will be using your project, and write it down to manage all the conflicts that arises from them. Once that is done, you capture all the requirements in a document, and then see that they are traced properly and processed properly to change them. Share it with everyone who can easily see it. The second step is set up change control process. Since these scope creep we have to avoid, it should not be unrealistic change. So the change control process should be very straightforward, and someone should suggest a change via change request only, and that change request should then follow its steps accordingly in the agile methodology to set up the change control process. Third is create a clear project schedule. It should create a project scope. Then you should have a user work breakdown structure, which is also called WBS, to create a detailed task list. And the important and the commonly used chart is NAT chart, which will help us to make the project schedules online properly. Then fourth one is verifying the project scope with the stakeholders. It's important to check that you have properly understood the requirements, and then what you think that the project sponsor will think about those, and what they have meant about it. And finally, talk to them to realize it. And finally, it's engage the project team members. You have to engage all the project team members to work accordingly in that process which we have defined in the requirement specification document, and the change request, and the how it should go on. And we have to engage the project team members accordingly, and this way only we can help avoid any scope creep in our project.
Thanks, Kanu, for that. Yeah, that's it. We have covered, I
Yes,
think, more than 30 different questions today, and that was a great session. I think you have covered quickly all those questions.
thank you.
So thanks a lot, Kanu, for your time today. Thanks.
Welcome, Sunan. Thank you.
So friends, I hope you have gained some knowledge today with this session. If yes, please hit a like button and do let us know if you have any other questions with respect to business analysts. We'll try to capture them in the next session. So yeah, with this thought, thanks everyone. Have a nice day. All the best for your next interview.
All the best. Thank you.